Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? Dr. Shealy, are you blissed? Dr. Shealy, it's great to hear your voice.
Always great to be with you.
Dr. Shealy, I was cleaning out I was straightening up some of the supplies we have here at the farm, and some of them related to furniture refinishing. And, my mom really loved refinishing furniture. She would buy antiques that were painted, multiple coats, and she would strip them down with trisodium phosphate, and my dad or I would glue them, and then she would refinish them, to their original type finish. And one of the products she used was turpentine. And it reminded me, as I was cleaning these supplies and, organizing them, turpentine, if you look at it in a jar, a clear jar or a clear bottle, it looks like water. It has it's as clear as water. It almost has a similar viscosity to water, and it reminded me of a meetup session that we had. And during these meetups in Springfield, which we don't have anymore, there was a gal who said, "Hey, I'd like to say something to the group." And I said, "Okay." She said, "I want to talk about some healing things." It's okay. So she got up to speak, and she started talking about how turpentine is made from pine trees and things like that. And then she started talking about drinking turpentine. And I became really, really concerned. And if you look back in history, you'll see some of those images of wagons, in the 1800s with these miracle cures. This will cure everything, just snake oil. Okay? Well, Dr. Shealy, it's believed to cure things like rheumatism, neuralgia, headache, sore throat, sprains, bruises, corns, cramps, colic, diarrhea, all pain, all inflammation, toothaches, on and on and on. And I was extremely concerned about this. And so I said, hold it. Before you do anything like this, you need to absolutely do your research, because you can kill yourself by doing this. Dr. Shealy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree. It is a terpene, and it is quite a bit stronger, if you will, than water. I mean, it's much more like concentrated alcohol in its potential. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure, I do remember my grandfather wrapping something around the ankle, maybe with turpentine, but I don't remember being used otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's an article today on dailymail.co.uk, and it says, headline, "Why is turpentine a new health craze?" ? Doctors warn that cure-all, hailed by Tiffany Haddish, can result in rashes, pneumonia, and even death. Actress Tiffany Haddish, if that's how you pronounce her name, I don't even know who she is, has promoted turpentine as a cure for colds and a digestive system cleanser. Turpentine, a fluid distilled from the resin of mainly pine trees, was used for thousands of years as medicine. Florida toxicologist Dr. Alfred, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Aleguas, reveals that ingesting or inhaling the substance can cause aspiration and inflamed lungs. Consuming as much as 1 tablespoon of turpentine has been found to cause death in children. So here we have some actor. This isn't a real person. This is someone who portrays a person, right? An actress says that this is a cure-all. And I got to tell you, I don't take any advice from people who pretend to be other people. I don't. Now, if I were...
I would not drink turpentine.
Yeah. To me, there's a big difference between a guy who plays a doctor on TV and a medical doctor. You know, one is an impersonator and the other is the real McCoy. So I just wanted to share that, Dr. Shealy. I think that people may see that one of these actri seems to think that this is a good way to go. And, sometimes I wonder, what do these actors and actresses know? And if you look at their families, they're in disarray. Their children are, tend to be drug addicts and out of control. And, so why take your advice from a pretender? Anything else you'd like to say about turpentine, Dr. Shealy?
Well, no, I just would not use it.
Okay. So, class, Dr. Shealy's and my position is no. No. Let me say it a different way. No. Don't do it. Okay. I'm looking at this, it's kind of like a flyer, and it says, Dr. Chase's syrup of linseed and turpentine for coughs, colds, croup, bronchitis, asthma, whooping cough, etc. And there it is. That's what he's saying. And cures backache, kidney, and liver troubles, according to. Those are his pills, his kidney and liver pills. And Dr. Shealy, is there such a thing as a liver pill? I remember back in the 50s hearing advertisements for Carter's liver pills. Is there such a thing?
Well, yes. There's a book called Back to Eden by Jethro Close, which is, in my opinion, the best naturopathic or herbal remedy book ever written. And he has something which he calls a liver flush. Now, I don't remember all of the details, but I do know that you drink apple juice for several days and sort of prepare for it, and then you take a rather large amount, an ounce if I remember correctly, of olive oil, and it causes the liver to flush itself. And now, the only problem with it is if you happen to have big gallstones, like over a centimeter in diameter, they can plug the bile duct. So I wouldn't recommend a liver flush unless you've had an ultrasound of the liver and gallbladder to be sure it's not loaded with big stones. But otherwise, it is probably the single best thing for helping a sluggish, if you will, or not well-functioning liver. Second to that would be castor oil packs, all soaked in castor oil, especially over the right upper abdomen, which could be there with a heating pad over it for an hour, or you'd actually wrap it up and sleep in it all night.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Shealy, if someone is thinking about doing a liver flush, what would be the symptoms that would indicate to them, oh, maybe I should do a liver flush? What would they see, feel, hear, experience?
Well, I would probably not recommend it without blood tests. There are liver enzymes that are part of a standard metabolic profile blood test, and it's not uncommon for the person not to have a lot of symptoms. Maybe you found on an annual exam, and I would definitely want to know, and there's a reason to do it. I wouldn't do it just because you feel bad.
Okay. What if a person felt good? What if a person just feels good all the time? Is there a reason to do a liver flush?
No. Now, there is where I would just do a castor oil suit. The single easiest, bestest way to do what I call detox is to rub, after you take your bath or shower, rub castor oil from the bottom of your neck, top of your shoulders, all the way down to your wrist, front and back, all the way down to your ankles, and put on an old sweatsuit and sleep in it. That goes through, this castor oil is absorbed to some extent through the skin, and it really cleanses the lymph system. It is an excellent, excellent detox. Now, you can also do the same thing before you go into a sauna. You can sit in the sauna at least 20 minutes with the castor oil over your whole body and then take your bath. That is also very detoxifying.
If you don't have a sauna, can you do something like go out in the sun?
Oh, yes, and if you're really willing to put up with it, you can rub all the castor oil all over your body and then lie down in your regular bathtub filled with hot water and soak it in for 20 minutes. Now, when you do that, you must have a bottle of cheap shampoo, and you let all the water out of the tub and then scrub the tub and your entire body with shampoo and rinse it off and scrub it again and rinse it off before you get out of the tub so you don't slip.
Okay. Now, the reason for the cheap shampoo is to prevent you from falling the next time. Is that right?
Well, even that time, because if you don't, wash it off and rinse, the tub's going to be coated with castor oil. It's very slippery. Yeah.
I think Mike Ma might call it a booby trap.
Exactly. Yeah. You could break your kazoo.
Yeah. So, Dr. Shealy, I was thinking about these images of people I see, and when I've been to the Chinese factory outlet, I noticed a lot of people have thinning hair or hair loss, mostly guys. And so I did a little bit of research, and a lot of people are on high blood pressure medications. And what I found out was, so in my research, I found out that some of these high blood pressure medications cause hair loss. And when we come back, I'll tell you which ones that I found have done this, according to my research on the internet. And I'd love to hear your opinion. High blood pressure meds and hair loss. We'll be right back. Dr. Norm Shealy's with us, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com. Dr. Shealy's a medical doctor, brain surgeon, surgeon of the year. And we're talking about health and medicine today. Dr. Shealy, so I was looking up some of these drugs that might cause hair loss. And one of them is called lisinopril, Lisinopril. It's an ACE inhibitor, and it can be used to treat high blood pressure. Well, one of the results that can happen to a person when taking lisinopril is hair loss. And I'm wondering, is that why we see hair loss in so many men? Well, maybe even women. They might be wearing wigs to cover it up. But is that possible that
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is not a safe antihypertensive drug on the market. Not one. Every one of them causes some kind of complication. Actually, the most common symptom is fatigue. It's minor compared to hair loss. The second one, if you're a male, is erectile dysfunction. Almost every one of them. Now, the average drug for hypertension has about a 20% effectiveness. That's their average. By the time you get it controlled in 45% of people, you're taking 3 antihypertensive drugs. 55% of the people get no help whatsoever and only the complication.
Okay, so as I look at some of these, they call them side effects, we call them complications. Common side effects of lisinopril, And this is from everydayhealth.com. As soon as I get rid of this commercial here. Okay, that popped up on my screen. Okay, or an advertisement. Some of the common side effects of lisinopril include, these are common complications: cough, dizziness, headache, extreme tiredness, nausea, diarrhea, weakness, sneezing, runny nose, low sex drive, and rash. Now, those are the common ones. And then there's some others that are swelling of the face, throat, tongue, lips, eyes, hands, feet, ankles, or legs. Hoarseness.
Don't forget death.
Trouble. Yeah. Trouble breathing or swallowing. Signs of infection such as fever, sore throat, and chills. Yellowing of the skin or eyes. Lightheadedness or fainting. Chest pain. And then, of course, as Dr. Shealy said, death. So that's for lisinopril. And we don't want to forget hair loss. So really, what do we do, Dr. Shealy, for, a medical doctor says, I know what you need. Lisinopril. Take these every day.
Well,
and then,
there is no antihypertensive drug, I don't care what it is, that I would allow into my body. Period. End of report. But then,
okay.
I have helped scores of people come off their drugs. I can control or help people control with no negative effects hypertension 99.8% of the time.
Okay, what do we do?
Well, number one, you try Nitro Extreme. NITROXTREME. You start with 15 drops twice a day. That doesn't work. You go to 30 drops twice a day. That works beautifully in 70% of people with no negative effects. And in fact, it increases energy instead of saps it. If that does not work, 90% of people with hypertension can break it under control by taking the following: Dr. Shealy's Essentials, 2 a day, Dr. Shealy's Youth Formula, 4 a day, and taurine, 6,000 milligrams a day. And I'll finish after the break.
Okay. Dr. Norm Shealy's with us. Class, this sounds good to me. We'll be right back. Dr. Norm Shealy's with us, and we're talking about high blood pressure. And in class, I think there are a lot of people who have high blood pressure. And Dr. Shealy mentioned that for 70% of those who want help, you can get Nitro Extreme from him, NITRO space XTREME. It comes in a small bottle with a dropper, and you take about 15 drops twice a day, or 30 drops if the 15 drops don't work, 30 drops twice a day. And he says that will lower the blood pressure in 70% of the cases. Now, do I believe it? Yeah, I do. Why do I believe it? Because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in a we'll call it a meetup clinic, if you will. People had their blood pressure tested. Dr. Shealy, those who had high blood pressure were given some Nitro Extreme. Blood pressure was retaken, and 70% blood pressure dropped within, I would say, a half an hour. Is that right, Dr. Shealy? Is that right, about a half hour?
Correct. You got it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I saw. And it wasn't one person.
Yeah, I like that because it's so simple. I mean, even though it's only 70%, that's almost twice as good as, that's more than twice as good as the average antihypertensive drug.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and no hair loss. no erectile dysfunction.
It improves erectile function.
Oh, boy. I think you could find a lot of people just wanting to try it just to make sure that works. Okay. 90% success rate with 2 Dr. Shealy's Essentials, and 4 Dr. Shealy's Youth Formula per day plus taurine. Now, class, I take Dr. Shealy's Essentials, and they are capsules. I get them at Dr. Shealy's clinic in Springfield, and they are a multivitamin mineral supplement. And I also take the Youth Formula, and they are I'm not sure why you call it Youth Formula, Dr. Shealy, but I guess because maybe it makes you feel younger?
Well, it actually is one of the things that can rejuvenate your telomeres.
Okay.
So that is rejuvenation.
Okay, so it can make you younger. And I take 6 a day. And that's, but
totally
I'm not recommending. Excuse me, Dr. Shealy?
It's totally safe. The 4 is what we've used as our routine, but it's totally safe to take 8 even.
Okay. And taurine was the next recommendation in this 90% reduction potential for high blood pressure. Taurine, how do we take it? What is it?
6. Well, it's an amino acid. It is the most common amino acid in the human body, and some people can't make it. They have to eat it, and of course, vegans don't get any way you look at it. But it's 2,000 milligrams with each meal works beautifully, and that's 90% of people.
2,000 milligrams with each meal.
Right. And the third attempt is the least expensive of all. It requires doing autogenic training twice a day, 18 minutes twice a day of the autogenic training, the basic shoes, the MP3. That reduces blood pressure in 80% of people. Take all those together, we're well over 99% who get their blood pressure adequately controlled with one of these.
Autogenic training, we can get that on your website?
Yes, it's Basic Schultz, SCHULTZ.
Okay, and they'll need a computer for that or something to play an MP3 file, correct?
Yeah, even a dumb phone.
Okay. There you go. So those are the recommendations. Do you have additional recommendations, or is that 90% the big one?
Well, they're all the same. I do one after the other. I start with Nitro Extreme, and I give them a choice between autogenic training and the other 3 supplements as the second one, and then the third, whichever they didn't choose the second time. But by the time we get the first 2 done, we've already controlled 97% of people with no negative effects.
Very good. Very good. There was a news item that we heard during this broadcast, and it was about a high schooler who was playing football, and he died of a traumatic brain injury. And so I'm looking at a story of a 16-year-old and of New York State, near Buffalo, New York, and he was playing football, and there was a helmet-to-helmet collision during the third quarter of the game. This is a game. Let me say it a different way. They're playing a game. And there was a helmet-to-helmet collision.
I'm sorry, Vince.
Causing,
I'm told it's an emergency. Sorry.
Okay.
What's happening?
Dr. Shealy has to step away. Okay. You might want to lower Dr. Shealy's pot there. Okay. So during this game, there was a high school football player near Buffalo, New York, and there was a head-to-head collision where the 2 helmets collided, and one of the high schoolers was knocked unconscious and later died. Now, why are we doing this? According to some statistics that I'm reading, that high school athletes sustain between 136,000 and 300,000 concussions per year. And U.S. emergency rooms treat nearly 474,000 brain injuries in youth age 0 to 14 every year, with nearly 130,000 of them related to sports. Athletes ages 16 to 18 account for 29% of all sports-related concussions. 15.8% of football players who sustain a concussion severe enough to cause the loss of consciousness return to play the same day. 50% of all second impact syndromes incidents can result in death. So why are we doing this? Why are we playing a game in high school where part of the design of this game is to ram the other guys?
Well, I totally agree with you, Ben. Interestingly, believe it or not, I was one of those taller people in my class in high school, and I had buddies who were pushing me to play football. My father, who loved football but would not allow me to play because he knew it could damage your brain and spine. And I bless him to this day for that, of course. I think it is a barbarian sport.
Dr. Shealy, you had an emergency. Do you need to attend to it?
No, I took care of it. It was, fortunately, it got somebody almost fainted for smelling alcohol. they came close to dropping on the floor for smelling an alcohol wipe. Oh, well, unfortunately, it was minor.
Okay, so everybody's okay?
Yep.
Okay, very good. So there's we talked about turpentine. Here's an interesting story, and I always wondered about this. So you go to the hospital and you go visit somebody, and there, a lot of times there's two people in one room, and there's this dividing curtain that gets pulled for privacy. Back and forth, back and forth. I've been in hospitals a lot, visiting people, and I've never seen anybody take those curtains down and replace them with clean curtains. I've never seen that. So my question is...
That is a wonderful observation. Boy, are you sharp.
Well, I don't know about sharp, but, I've got a lot of questions, about everything, and it gets me in trouble sometimes. But how is it that, we don't pay attention to the curtains that go between the beds? Or, if you're in the emergency room, sometimes they put you in a staging area, or if you're going to have an operation, you're in a staging area, and it's like one big room with curtain after curtain after curtain after curtain separating, those beds with wheels. Can't superbugs live in those curtains?
Of course they can. They could live in curtains on the window. They could live in dust anywhere in the room.
What do we do? I mean, dust is everywhere.
Avoid hospitals.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Dr. Shealy, because that's something that I've been agonizing over for years. Had a friend who was going to have some surgery, and now, do I want to go visit him when he's in the hospital? Do I want to maybe bring something in there that I shouldn't? Do I want to get something that's in there that I don't want to get? I mean, it's a two-way street. And I'm concerned about it. And I don't know the answer. I think there's positive reinforcement and mood uplifting when you have visitors, and I think maybe there's a potential to get well sooner, with smiling friends. And yet there's a risk. Okay. Well, I don't know the answer. Do you have a suggestion?
Well, just take care of yourself so you don't have to go to the hospital is the only suggestion I can make, because you ain't going to change them changing the curtains around the bed.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back with Dr. Norm Shealy. I've got some questions about living to be over 100 and some strange thoughts that make no sense to me about what some people have recommended. We'll be right back. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com. Dr. Shealy, you and I sat next to each other at the council meeting about a week ago, a little over a week ago. And did you notice how curly my hair has become?
I did. I stared at it several times.
well, scalar energy. I got to tell you that I mentioned to you that on the air that my hair is, well, it's like one step below becoming an afro, but
I'd say two.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, isn't it? What's your reaction to that? I'm not curling my hair. It's doing it.
Oh, I believe you. And, of course, mine, I have lost most of my gray hair. And not only has it returned to color, but actually much of the hair that was gray is now blonde instead of a brown, because when I was younger, before age 15 or 16, I was a blonde. And the hair, as it's changing back, is going back to my most youthful age color.
Mm-hmm. And Mrs. Finelli has been, blonde all her life. And she does not color her hair, and it's really blonde. So yes, hers is returning. She had, a few white hairs, and now it seems to me like that they're almost all back to blonde. I swear, if I look at her from the back, she appears to be a 20-year-old, and her hair looks like she's 20. Is this possible?
Of course, because if you are rejuvenating your telomeres, that can happen. Mm-hmm. And so I believe that when we measure your blood again in December, we're going to find significant regeneration of telomeres.
I'm really looking forward to that. And, she has a lot of energy. When you consider she's just under 70 years old, I mean, she's running around the farm, she's on the tractor, she's lifting, she's carrying, she's loading the truck with firewood. I mean, this isn't just like once. This is, she's probably loaded 20 truckloads of firewood to the point, to the maximum carrying capacity of my half-ton truck. I mean, to the maximum. And, and it's not like she just loads it and then it sits there. She has to unload it. And that's the kind of thing we all do as a family. But she's out there and she doesn't say, it's not my turn anymore. You guys got to do it. No, she's out there with us, puts her, her work gloves on, and out there she goes. So, and it's not light. It's not light. It's hard work.
My latest download on Sailor?
I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I suddenly had an intuitive hit that if we took someone with early Alzheimer's disease, where they've already got by X-ray, CAT or whatever, shrinkage of the brain, exposing them to the scalar could reverse early Alzheimer's. So that's my next project. I'm going to enroll some people who've actually got Alzheimer's disease and see if it helps.
Dr. Shealy, if you talk to the typical person and say, so how you doing? How's your memory? I'm convinced that almost everyone will say, I used to remember better than I do now.
Oh,
My memory is nowhere near as good as it was. So it'd be interesting to see. I don't know how you would measure that. I guess you'd have to have some standardized test. That'd be an interesting. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about that when we come back. And also, I got a question about lemon drops. What is it about lemon drops that seems to suppress cough? Now, there are all kinds of cough drops, and if you look in the stores class, you'll see lemon this and lemon that. It's pretty common. Lemon drops. Why? What is it about lemon? We'll be right back after top of the hour news and commercial announcements. Your instructor at the front of the classroom today is Dr. Norman Shealy, medical doctor. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us. NormShealy.com, NormShealy.com. Dr. Shealy, we're talking about scalar energy, and Mrs. Finelli and I are in your study for scalar energy and rejuvenation of telomeres, and we have one of your devices in the bedroom, and we are there 8 hours a day exposed to scalar energy, and it's been going on for close to a year. I guess in December it'll be a year. And you're talking about scalar energy possibly being a treatment for reversing early Alzheimer's disease. Is that right?
Yeah, intuitively. I obviously don't know till we test it.
Yeah.
And the only way we could really be sure is actually to have a CAT scan of the brain that shows, loss of brain substance in early Alzheimer's, and see if that would retreat, if you will, or repair itself within a year.
Mm-hmm. Can there be a simpler test? Well, that's quite easy to do, but there's some risk associated with the radiation, right? But what about giving a memory test before?
Well,
and then a memory test after.
It would be a physiological response, but in the long run, in medicine, if I don't show a reversal of the damage to the brain, it won't be accepted. And I don't consider an X-ray, a CAT scan, to be a very significant risk to anyone. Now, an MRI with contrast can be, but not a plain old X-ray. Good heavens, Vince.
Okay, you're talking about an X-ray, or are you talking about a CAT?
I bet I've done 1,000 X-ray procedures in the X-ray room on patients with X-ray going, and I've never had any harm for them. Okay,
so you're talking about X-rays. Are you saying that a CAT scan is not very dangerous as well?
That is correct. I believe a CAT scan is something I would not hesitate to do. I mean, remember the one we do for the heart.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds great. So I was thinking about lemon drops. And lemon drops have been around since I was a child, and I'm sure way before then. And it seems that lemon drops, or maybe it's just the lemon, have a wonderful property, and that can minimize or even stop coughs in the short run. And so I looked up, cough drops, and sure enough, it's as I remember in the stores, lemon, ginger, and clove, honey lemon. I mean, lemon is in a lot of these cough drops. Dr. Shealy, do we know what it is about lemon that seems to have a positive impact in reducing coughing?
Well, it is alkalinizing, and most people who've got a cough are going to be acid. It is an antacid. It has all kinds of, it improves your immune function because it has ascorbic acid in it. It is an antiseptic. It is a bactericide. It can kill bacteria. So it's a carminative, that is relieving purifying, detoxifying, diuretic, antifungal. It is one of the most remarkable as a single food. It is one of the most remarkable in the world. It actually can be used even to detoxify the liver. Part of a liver flush is to, after you fasted for 3 days, is to take 2 tablespoons of lemon juice with 2 tablespoons of olive oil to cleanse the liver. So liver really is, I don't know any other food that is as broad spectrum as lemon is.
Okay. Now, we can buy lemon juice in those bottles. The common brand would be Real Lemon, those green, almost quart-sized bottles.
Right.
Is that as good as getting a fresh lemon? What my dad would do is he would roll it on the counter, clean the counter, roll it on the counter, and then cut it, and then eat parts of the lemon. Is there an advantage to...
I don't think Real Lemon is half as good as lemon itself, but it still has benefit.
Okay. Is there an amount of lemon juice or an amount of a lemon that we should consume X times per day? Once, twice, 3 times, every other day. Do you have a recommendation?
One of the greatest things in the world to acidify, to de-acidify, to make your blood more alkaline, is the juice of 1 lemon taken in a glass of water in the morning. And so anytime you have any kind of problem, up to 1 lemon's worth of juice is excellent.
Okay. So I wrote down the juice of 1 lemon in water in the morning. Okay, is that with breakfast, before breakfast, after breakfast?
I would do it when you get up, before you eat.
Okay. On arrival, or on awakening. Okay. So, juice of 1 lemon. Okay.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to doing that. That's something that I have not done. Are there any contraindications? Is there something that we should be concerned about? If this happens, well, and back off. Don't do it. Reduce. Or are we good to go?
Unless you are, let's face it, there's a rare person who's going to be allergic to lemon. But that's exquisitely rare compared to peanuts and other things.
Okay. For years, Mrs. Finelli, if she has a sore throat or a cough, will take warm water in a cup, and she will add about a teaspoon of honey and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and sip it for, hours. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Absolutely superb. Excellent.
Okay. Do we know why that works, Dr. Shealy?
Well, as I said, it actually strengthens the entire immune system. I don't know a single other compound of any kind that can do as much good for you as a glass of lemon.
No, what I was saying, that time I was saying honey and apple cider vinegar.
That adds to it, because apple cider vinegar can do the same thing without the lemon juice. So when you put 2 together, you got a double whammy.
Okay.
In a good sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was reading this story that didn't make very much sense to me. I think these were some anomalies about people who have lived a long, long time, which is wonderful. And in this story, there are, it's called The Strangest Secrets to Living a Long Life. Out of 100 people aged over 100, they were interviewed about their secrets to living a long life. And here are some of the ways they shared that they believe contributed to them living a long life. Now, one of them, or one of the items is sleeping for days on end and avoiding marriage. I've got to disagree with that.
I disagree with that, too. Now, on the other hand, if your auntie or a man should be your uncle, if you have a good marriage, remember, in today's odd world, 50% of marriages dissolve into divorce. But those 50% that don't, the people who are happily married live longer.
That makes sense to me. Absolutely makes sense to me. And I just can't. I feel bad for some people whom I've met, and gosh, they have to wake up with that other person. Boy, would that be miserable. And I would think that'd be life shortening, as you were mentioning. Another item on this list is olive oil, chocolate, wine, and cigarettes. I can understand the first three, but not the cigarettes.
Well, whoever said that is addicted. They're crazy. Mm-hmm. There's not anything good. Not a single help of smoking. Not one. It is all horrible.
Okay. About the olive oil, the chocolate, and the wine. We're talking
olive oil. Olive oil is certainly the single best of all the edible oils. Chocolate has anandamide, so a tiny bit of that can be good. It causes the brain to produce something called anandamide, or it produces it. And wine does relax people. For those who are tense and anxious, a glass of wine can improve it because they just, they let go of stress.
So if you're going to, Dr. Shealy, if you were in the wine store where there is almost an infinite supply of different kinds of wines, is there one that you would recommend above all others? Would it be a white? Would it be a red? Would it be a Pinot Grigio? What would your thoughts be?
Theoretically, the red is somewhat better for having antioxidants in it, but there are many, many, many more people who are sensitive or allergic to red wine than to white wine. So in the long run, I think a gentle, Chardonnay, the best.
Okay. The wines that we grew when we were in Virginia, in our vineyard, Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay. Those are the king of the red and the king of the white grapes. We'll be right back. Dr. Norm Shealy is with us, normshealy.com. We're talking about an article I'm reading on the dailymail.co.uk about some people, what they've said about why they believe they have lived to be over 100. And some of these don't make any sense. So, class, I don't want you to think that we're recommending all of these. Some of them are absolutely ridiculous, like cigarettes, But let's continue this. So here's one that says, kicking a husband out and never marrying again.
So that's all true. In other words, male or female, you're going to do a lot better if the failure rate, for instance, after a second marriage is greater than it is after a first. So don't get married unless you know you're compatible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with that. And here's one, Coca-Cola. So here's someone who thinks that drinking Coca-Cola is the secret to longevity.
I'd like to see a CAT scan of her brain. She's got dementia.
My dad was telling me many years ago, probably in the 70s, said that in some of the bottling plants, they can't use metal pipes for the Coca-Cola syrup because it contains phosphoric acid, or it did at that time. And it's so corrosive it would eat the metal pipes, including stainless steel. So they have to use glass or wax piping in order to convey the syrup for bottling because it is so corrosive. Interesting. We use Coca-Cola. We have it here. For example, if a company's coming and they absolutely positively have to have it, we will have it here at the farmhouse. And if there's any left over, we use it for cleaning. Pour it in the toilets, and it helps dissolve the calcium from hard water in the toilet tanks. The back of the toilets. Just pour it in there and just let it set for a while, and it'll help to dissolve some of that calcium. So Coca-Cola does have some uses. Eating plenty of pig's feet. Dr. Shealy, I don't know why, but my dad would eat pig's feet. They would come. To him, it was a delicacy back in the 1960s. I've never had one. Never wanted to have one. Don't intend to have any. What is it about pig's feet? I don't know. I mean, I'm okay.
I have the foggiest idea.
No makeup. No makeup is another one. Now that makes sense to me. Mrs. Finelli does not wear makeup. And so I'm thinking about the pores and clogging them up and the skin absorbing whatever's in the makeup, the artificial colors or whatever might be in there. There might have even been lead at one time in makeup and rouge. What are your thoughts on not wearing makeup?
Well, there's no question that some of the dyes and other junk that they put into makeup are potentially toxic. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't think we were meant to make up.
Okay. I'm connecting with the stack, and the stack is our method for taking calls, and we've got, we've got Deborah in Kentucky. Welcome. You're on with Dr. Norman Shealy.
Good morning, Vince and Dr. Shealy. I've got a couple questions about vitamin C. As you both know, I've been a long-time listener. I've heard that ascorbic acid may not be as good as a natural vitamin C. And then, Dr. Shealy, I've heard you say not to worry about that. And then also that there is a process that all vitamin C goes through at some processing plant, and if you paid $80 for vitamin C or $15 for vitamin C because of that process, that it may not be the same caliber before it's gone through that process. And then the other thing is, could you please share the combination of MSM, vitamin
Deborah,
C.
hold that thought. We're going into a break. Hold that thought. Dr. Shealy's with us. Deborah in Kentucky's with us. And Deborah, you were talking about vitamin C and ascorbic acid. And I guess you're asking about the differences. Please continue.
Is the proportion of vitamin C, MSM, and potassium bicarb if I were to mix up a batch of it?
Well, first of all, St. Georgie is the guy who discovered vitamin C. I met him when he was in his early 90s, and he took only 10 grams a day. Now, some people cannot take more than 5 grams. Almost everybody tolerates up to 5,000 milligrams of a plain old ascorbic acid with nothing added. Some people will get diarrhea or cramping at or above that age, that dosage. However, there is a liposomal, a fat-soluble vitamin C, in which most people can tolerate up to 10 grams. So that is the big difference between plain old ascorbic acid and then there's buffered ascorbic acid. I don't think the buffering itself does much to make it better. Now, our experience showed that 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C as ascorbic acid did nothing to your DHEA level. But if you added to it 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams of MSM, it would essentially raise your DHEA, the most important stress hormone in the body, by 60% within a month. So the MSM plus the ascorbic acid is necessary to regrow, if you will, or start remaking your DHEA. Whether or not you take bicarb with it is, to me, a preferential thing. In itself, it's not necessary. It works perfectly well without it.
Well, it's been my experience that if I do the potassium bicarb, that I can push thousands of milligrams without any problem.
I would suspect that that's true because, after all, ascorbic acid is an acid, and we need to be alkaline in our blood. So I would, when you say push, how much K-barb do you take?
Well, I'm beginning to do a high amount of vitamin C for improving connective tissue and, of course, overall health benefits from alkalinization, but also kind of getting the high vitamin C, helping get rid of some of the microbial issue.
Right. Oh, I believe that. There's no question about it. And, taking up to certainly 1,000 milligrams of potassium bicarb would be quite safe.
Would that be a teaspoon?
I don't know the powder. I only use K-bicarb in little tablets. Each little tiny, tiny tablet contains 99 milligrams. So I would imagine that 10 or 11 of them would be about a teaspoon.
Well, I ordered the bulk, and I have 2 pounds of it. I was hoping for a combination.
I would need to know what the milligrams per teaspoon are. I'll look it up and see if I can find out how much.
I was wanting to make a batch, like a jar of ready to go MSM, vitamin C, and potassium bicarb.
Yep, I'll look at it and see teaspoon.
While you're doing,
how many milligrams in a teaspoon of potassium citrate? A fourth of a teaspoon is 1.4 grams, so it's going to vary. Unfortunately, I haven't found it easily on the internet, but I imagine on the bottle it tells you.
No, I ordered 2 pounds of bulk.
Well, that's a lot of bicarb. That'll last you a while.
That's why I got it.
Right. Okay.
I think we're all vitamin C deficient. I mean, pretty much anyway. And
well, actually, it was shown back in the late, I think, 79, that a minimum of 1,000 milligrams a day was necessary instead of the 60 milligrams that, is recommended as the RDA. I found 2 pounds of potassium bicarbonate at Amazon, but it doesn't tell me how much is in a teaspoon, so sorry.
Dr. Shealy,
potassium bicarbonate is a lot better than sodium bicarbonate, that's for sure.
I learned that from you, but it's been this long for me to get around to making a recipe of it. Well, I guess I'll just experiment.
Right. 1.5 teaspoons of sodium bicarbonate, 1.5 teaspoon will contain 1,888 milligrams of sodium. So we could say that a teaspoon should be about 900 milligrams of K-bicarb. That's good. I would think a teaspoon of that would certainly neutralize, if you will, up to 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C.
So that would be 2 to 1 then, 2
Right.
2 teaspoons vitamin C, 1 bicarb.
Right.
And then how much MSM? Because I've got it all in bulk, not...
Now I got to find out what again, I'd have to know what you want for the 2,000 milligrams of C is 1,000 milligrams of MSM. So I imagine it would be approximately the same as a bicarb, a teaspoon of MSM.
So 2 and then 1 and 1.
Right.
That would be awesome. And then one quick question. I've got a plant-based magnesium that is from algae, and it seems to do some work when I've had muscle cramps, but it's not real expensive, and I know that the magnesium on the skin is primary, but I was just going to ask you what you might think about in terms of absorption of magnesium, if it's an algae, if there might be more benefits.
I don't know. All I know is I've only tested, the usual compounds, magnesium oxide, various things like that, but all known powders of magnesium cause diarrhea if you take too much, and they're not absorbed as well. So I would think, whether it's algae or not, probably not absorbed as well as through the skin.
I would tend to agree with you on that, but do you think there's some benefit if there had been an experience of cramping going away?
Well, if it helps the cramping go away, it sounds as if it has some absorption. You can't help the cramping go away unless it gets the bloodstream.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to hear your voice.
You are welcome. Blessings. Have a good one.
You too.
Deborah, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Vince.
Okay, Mark in Philadelphia. Welcome.
Hello, Vincent. Hello, Dr. Shealy. This is Mark the Spark in Philadelphia. I wanted to I very much appreciate you being there, Dr. Shealy, because my take on it is you're a very good scientist, and you're a world-renowned doctor, from what I gather. Your reputation precedes you. It effervesces across our land. And so in that regard, I would like to appeal to you for something, Vincent, I recently found out, that I've been checking out this deal about the psychotropic drugs concerning our veterans and the wider audience of our community. Further investigation we find that across the board in several different categories of these psychotropics that they're now discovering that they cause cancer. Isn't that just wonderful? My take on prescription drugs across the board is that the evil side, the dark side, has put some kind of secret diabolical formula in every single prescription drug. I mean, when you look on the labels of these things, it says might cause this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and in fine print, many of them say may even cause death, which that covers them from liability for any kind of other bad things that these prescription drugs could cause. So my sense of it is that these prescription drugs not only compromise our physical body, compromise our immune systems, but also they may actually interrupt our connection with our soul. Dare I, now I'm not a scientist, I'm not a medical doctor, but dare say I that they are compromising our souls. What say you, Dr. Shealy?
You're smarter than the pharmacomafia. I agree with you. Anything that disturbs your ability to think straight is going to compromise the soul, or the contact with the soul.
Thank you. Now, on that note, I would also like to say that I would like to appeal to you. I have sought to connect with Peter Bregan. Do you know who Peter Bregan, MD, is, a psychiatrist?
Yeah, he's one of the few sane psychiatrists.
Okay. Now there is a saying that we the people can connect with anyone within 6 telephone calls. We can reach anyone we really need to reach. I don't know. Have you heard that, Vincent? That you can reach about anybody if you just get intent about it and do it and make the calls?
Well, I haven't heard that, but I do that. If I want to get in touch with someone, I do that.
Okay. So I'm beseeching you, Dr. Shealy, because I've wondered in the last couple of weeks if the power's been, if there's been a blackout in Springfield, Missouri, and for your broader audience, I am from Springfield. Can I hold?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark the Spark's going to hold. Dr. Shealy's with us. NormShealy.com. This is USA Prepares. We'll be right back. Mark the Spark's with us, and he's mentioning cancer being caused by medication, psychotropics. Please continue.
So what I'd like to say is that, by the way, I agree with you, Vincent. Many actors they're imposters, pretending, great pretenders, right? But I do think that there are. I like good movies that are based on real history or true to life movies. Some of the impactful movies in my life. One of them was Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams and what's his name? Also, Scent of a Woman. And then there's another one, Dead Poets Society. Oh, Captain, My Captain, where he dares the young guys coming up, where he mentors them to dare to go beyond the norm and go beyond the boundaries of who they thought they were, okay, and dare to ask the keen questions. So here we are today. Dr. Shealy, I grew up in the same community where you now reside. I actually also grew up in the countryside where you have a farm, Fairgrove, Missouri, and I grew up in Springfield. I actually met your son in 1986. He was with his girlfriend, and he passed by the business that I was trying to develop there on Main Street, Main Avenue in Springfield. So anyway, I am appealing to you to take on this charge of I mentioned to you, Vincent, and I think I mentioned to you, Dr. Shealy, that now the veterans can sue the VA in class action lawsuit. I'm not about suing people. I'm not about suing entities. What I am about is revealing this bad stuff that's happened. Concerning the movie Good Will Hunting, I went through that similar kind of experience. I've lost 2 families by the age of 21. Dr. Shealy, in that community, and I dare I say, I look around, and I'm afraid I'm losing our extended family, the family of humanity. Our families are dying. Our families are being destroyed. Dare we not stand up to these heathens, to these diabolical devils, and speak truth to power, and dare we go there? So I'm asking for your support. I mentioned a minute ago before the break that I was wondering if the power had went out in Springfield over the last 2 weeks, or that I was also going to ask you if you've had a finger operation. And I'm wondering that because I have left my telephone number with you to beseech your support as a mentor, as a scientist, and as a world-renowned doctor. I need your help. We need your help. And maybe you can, if you're not willing to go there yourself, maybe you can put me in touch with Peter Bregan if you know him as a professional, because I, in some ways, many ways, I've been a canary in the coal mine of our culture. I've lost 2 families by the age of 21, and I've also went through hell with the Veterans Administration system, but I survived. The drugs they were giving me, Dr. Shealy, should have killed me. Should have killed me. They could have killed me. But how did I survive? Well, maybe I have good blood because my great-great-grandfather survived the Civil War. He survived hell at Andersonville, Georgia, 11 months in a prison that he should have died. So I've got it in my blood. Good German blood, by the way. And so I beseech you, oh, Captain, my Captain, please support the veterans in this effort to reveal what they're doing to the veterans, the largest healthcare system in the United States, as well as to the greater community. They are prescribing these drugs to children, and it's killing our families. Killing. Let's not beat around the bush. It's killing us. So what do we do?
I'm definitely with you. In fact, in mid-October, I'm going to Phoenix to a big meeting with a group of veterans to discuss this kind of thing. By the way, if you go on the Internet, I looked it up while the break was on. If you look up Peter Regan, you can find his phone number and a way to email him.
I've already tried that, Dr. Shealy, and I'm appealing to you to introduce me to him because I have evidence. I have scientific evidence of my experience, and I would like to ask you to call me and at least try to put me in touch with Dr. Regan. Thank you.
Okay, I need your email. Thanks.
Dr. Shealy, I will get you Mark the Sparks' email. I'll forward it to you right now. Dr. Shealy, thank you so much for being with us and spending so much of your valuable time with us here at USA Prepares. It's been about 7 years that you and I have been together, 2 hours a week on the radio. I really want to thank you. That's above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.